Guys, gonna cruise through YouTube real quick, see what's going on. If any of our friends are live, Goga is live. I got him up and running actually. It's popped in the morning, well, about an hour ago. Had to take care of a few things, and then I will catch up and watch the rest on replay. And let's see. I think that might be it. Pancake is into that, is live. Pancake's a relatively new friend. I've been to his live stream a few times. I enjoy it. It's a good guy, and he puts out a really nice message. We got a post from Burpee Reaper. And what we see is the Raiders flag flying. Go Raiders. I'm not going to yell it. I'm going to type it in capital letters. So that implies a shout, right? Not always, but for this one it does. So why am I a Raiders fan? Because Burpee Reaper's a Raiders fan. I support a team as much as I support a friend. That's it. All there is to it. Let's see. I'm looking at a something I wrote last year. On conspiracy theories. It shows up on Facebook. You know, the memories for those who are on Facebook. I think most people who come and hang out are younger than me. Hey, Jace. Jace says, poop howdy. John says, so Eric, hope you're well. Thank you, John. Appreciate that. Poor man says, good afternoon. Good afternoon, my friend. So yeah, I'm just cruising around YouTube. I always got a bunch of windows up. I was listening to podcasts. I don't do a whole lot of podcasts. This is on, give me a second. I want to make sure that I get the name of it right. Strength running, which is training for running, but a little bit different. Basically, before I started ultra running, I was training for kettlebell sport. Pretty strong. I did 71 jerks with 224 kilograms in 20 minutes. You can't put it down. You got to hold it in the rack position. 50 some long cycle, which is a double clean and then a jerk with the 24s. I had done 10-minute sets with the 32 kilograms. Not a lot of reps, but sometimes just getting that time in. So when I switched to ultra running, I was already a pretty strong athlete and in good shape. Kettlebell sport training is the most brutal sport I've ever participated in. It's harder to do a 10-minute set with heavy bells than it was for me to run 100 miles. But when I switched over to ultra running, I realized that there's a difference between being a strong runner and a strong athlete. A strong runner, you're in shape to run for running. You know? For me, I wanted to maintain as much strength as possible, overall, full body strength as a runner. So I did a lot of strength training, mainly get-ups and swings. I tried to stick with the kettlebell sport, man, but it was hard. So anyway, for that podcast, the reason I'm watching it, it has Dave Roche, who won um, Leadville 100 this year. Has a very, very unique training style. And he broke an almost 20-year-old record at Leadville. Actually smashed it. Pretty incredible. And the same person who is training him, or trained him, trained, I forget her name. She just, as of this morning, set the fastest known time record on the Appalachian Trail. I think like 40 days. So, give me a second, guys. Appalachian Trail is roughly 2,100 miles. Divided by 40 means she averaged 52.5 miles every single day for 40 days. That's pretty amazing. All right, let me get caught up here in the chat. Hey, William, how are you? John says to Jace, hey, Sabine, my friend, how are you today? How's your Sunday? Sabine says, hope you're all doing fine. Leo, man, Leo and Jacob putting in some big reps. Leo says, happy Sunday, Brother Yogi. Wishing you a great day and good vibes, guy. Thank you. Appreciate that. How you feeling, Leo? Sabine says, hello to poor man. Sabine said, fine so far. A bit boring, but okay. Well, that'll pick up when the premiere starts. I hope you guys make it to the Optimob premiere. It's usually about 3 o'clock on Eastern time, Eastern Standard Time. Nightmare says, hi. Hey, Nightmare, how are you? So I titled the live stream, Ask Me Anything. If anyone ever wants to ask me anything, now's the time. Nightmare says, I'm good, thanks, how are you? Nightmare, I'm doing pretty good. Glad to hear you are. Leo says, all good, Yogi, feeling strong and a bit hungry. Going to do a max push-up session before bed later. But for now, I'm going to start packing up and getting ready for the big move. The big move. I remember you talking about wanting to do this back in, it was like in July or so, when you were out in Reno. Don't forget, I was mentioning before, and I think I might have gotten slightly off track, the premiere for Optimob. This is going to be a special one. Nightmare says, I'm doing the 200 push-ups a day challenge, and I can't lie, my shoulders hurt bad. Hey, what day are you on? And does it have to be 200 at once? Can you break it up? Can you do sets of 10 spread throughout the day? That's a big challenge. Foreman says, best wishes on the move, Leo. You're making a good choice, my friend. Moving to Reno permanently. Big change. Yeah, it will be a big change. I heard you mention before that you've always been Los Angeles based. Austin says hi to everyone. Hey, Austin. Eric Points here. What's up, Eric? Hey, how did your evening shift go yesterday? You said you were working a wedding. Let's see. Bharat Singh says, please give me some book suggestions. You have many books here. I'm happy to give you some book suggestions, but do me a favor. Give me what genre. You want fiction, nonfiction? Do you want spirituality? Do you want on what line? What line would you like a book suggestion on? So how long is the challenge for? Nightmare says I try to do it all together with a couple of minutes break in between. I'm on day 16. So is it for 30 days? It's 30 days. You're halfway there. Jay says Nightmare, warm up, stretch, and cool down. You should be okay. Also, you can ice up your shoulders to bring down the inflammation. Speed says hi to Austin. Eric LP says, it went well. Good. How long did it go for? Fiction and nonfiction, your favorite. All right, fiction. 100 Years of Solitude. Gabriel Garcia Marquez. Beautifully written book. Absolutely beautiful. Jitterbug Perfume. It is funny. It's profound. It's informative. Tom Robbins. Lonesome Dove. By far the single greatest Western ever written. Maybe, it's a Pulitzer Prize winning Western. Maybe the single best book of fiction ever. Razor's Edge. Somerset Maugham. Written back in the 1940s. I read it in the 80s and it sent me on a spiritual quest that has lasted to this day. And let's see. Am I leaving anything off my favorite fiction? Let's leave it at that 4 for now. Nonfiction. Man, let me think. Autobiography of a Yogi, Paramahansa Yogananda, which basically set my course as a yogi, practicing the meditative aspect of yoga. Not just the physical, but the entirety of the path. Born to Run, Christopher McDougall, because I read in line buying another book. I picked it up, I browsed through it. I read one little, it was the epigraph from the Tao Te Ching. And in that moment, I put aside what I was training for and became an ultra runner. Put the book down that I was going to buy, bought that book, got home, told Mocha, hey, I'm going to run 100 miles. Not only that, but you're going to do it with me. And Mocha really took to ultra running. She was a strong runner, persistent. So that was those two. So that'll do for nonfiction for now, I think. I'm sure something more will occur to me. Nightmare says, yes, 30 days, but it's getting difficult. Try to ice your shoulders down. Bring down the inflammation. And as Jay said, warm up, cool down. And try to maybe break it up a bit how you're doing it. Even if you want to do it all at once in one session, some days do maybe sets of 5 with a little less rest, or sets of 25. Let's see. Erica Point says, he got out a little after 11 p.m. That's not too bad. It would be late for me, though. Nightmare says, hey, Eric, hope you're well. Hey, Nightmare, I just subscribed to you, my friend. Barat says, I hope I'm saying your name right, by the way. Thanks for the suggestion, bro. You're welcome. William says, don't have enough time to read anymore. Hey, how about books on tape? I enjoyed Audible. It was getting a little expensive. Eric Point says, Yogi, just so you know, I was doing a breathing coaching. Um, I was going to breathing coaching in front of a crowd of people while you were teaching us while watching my kids play soccer. Were people pointing? That's awesome. Your poor kids, traumatized. Of course, they know what they were getting into. They signed up for this. Let's see. Mayor says hi. Or Mayor. Let me know which one was correct, if either were correct. Poor man says, take some baking soda a half hour before you work out. We'll counter the lactic acid. Nice thinking. I know lots of ultra runners who have done that as well. Eric Point says, yes, Nightmare. Thank you. You as well. Let's see. Eric Point says, doing on, going, sorry. Doing, not going. Gotcha. Doing, not going. William says, I do something similar, but I cannot track podcasts and an audiobook. And often I have to pay attention to the audiobook, or else it might get as well be static, or it might as well be static. I can understand that. Nightmare says, can I ask what you do for a living? Yep. The title for today was Ask Me Anything. So right now, this is it. I'm a full-time YouTuber. I used to be middle management retail, and I disliked it, sort of. I didn't, retail's tough. Retail can be draining. But I was pretty good at it. I did my best, to be honest, to never sell anything to anyone. It was in the nutrition industry. I didn't want to sell anything to anyone they didn't need, anything to anyone to anything they didn't need. Hey, Stuart. And that made me popular with customers, which brought more people in. So those above me liked it, and they were always threatening to promote me. Literally bring me to a house and saying, hey, look, you could be a district manager. Look at my car, look at my boat, look at my house, look at my wife, look at my kids. And I thought, man, I got to get out of this. That's a horrible future for me. It's a great future for someone who wants all of that. For me, it's not what I wanted. So I'd always step down, or I would leave and go work middle management somewhere else, or better yet, just in sales. But I still didn't like any of that. Eric Point says that, oh no, my eyes were closed. That's the best way to do it. So when I got married, Milk was like, why don't you, you got your personal training certification. You just became a kettlebell coach. I had 2 kettlebell certifications. Start a training business. Go to people's homes with the kettlebells, or they can come to your home. And I did that. And I was fairly successful for a while. Business comes and goes. Some people want to get in shape for an event, and then they're ready to get out of shape. Not a whole lot of people want to train forever. And then when COVID hit, and I was a caregiver for my father, I had to shut my business down. I used that time to get my teaching certification in yogic pranayama and meditation. Became a primordial sound meditation teacher. Man, that's harder than personal training. You think people don't want to train. Nobody wants to meditate. Everyone wants to meditate in theory because they know the benefits. But when you sit down and your thoughts start to quiet, it gets a little spooky. It's a little spooky in there when you finally get that glimpse of emptiness. It's always spooky in here, speaking personally. Hey, Optimob. So with that being a little iffy, and my YouTube channel started growing a bit, I thought, I'm going to see what I can do. I'm going to see if I can, I don't need to make it big. I don't need a huge audience. I need a few sincere people who are looking for the benefits of meditation, of kindness, of compassion, of breath work, of yogic psychology. And you know what? Just, again, being kind and compassionate, empathetic. So that's what I'm trying to do. And I recently have been inspired by our good friend Stuart the Fish Whisperer and Bob from Anything is Possible. That was a long answer to your question, my friend. Poor man says, might try making a 30-kilo bill today. Got to find a good ball at Walmart. Man, I'd love to see that. Poor man is an expert at making his own equipment. Timo saying hi to everyone. Nightmare says, I did retail too, and I really disliked it. I worked in the pet food industry, and it was the worst point of my life. Working with the general public is a nightmare. Pardon the pun. Man, I can't argue that. It's, for what I was doing, it was good practice. If you make a declaration that my practice is kindness, that I wish to see the light of God, the light of love within everyone, then God, whatever your concept of God is, says, okay, let me send you the worst possible people every single day, day after day, and see if you still want that. So it was good practice. Stuart says, how are you, Yogi brother? I'm doing pretty good, Stuart. Thanks for sending me over to Kevin. I liked and subscribed. That said that I mentioned that you sent me on over. Poor man says, I finally got a few shield cast with that mace. Need a skill to see what all this stuff weighs. Have you ever tried the, what is it, the great Gaja workout with the mace? Mace might be too heavy to try that. You can Google that up. I think I'm getting the name wrong. I'll look it up and send it to you, or I'll post it here. Let's see. Eric Point says, I work with the public during tree season. I imagine you're actually pretty good at that, Eric. You're, you have a kind demeanor. So it says, you're welcome, brother. He is something else. Well, man, he's got a good father. That goes a long way, doesn't it? Timo says, Eric Lapointe, this year you work in Switzerland too, when you deliver our Christmas tree personally for $60 to Switzerland. Man, that's a big delivery, isn't it? Poor man says, should check out Savage Army. I will. I mentioned that before. I'm going to bring it up so I know, remember to take a look at it. I just subscribed. Let's see. Rick Point says, I read that about working in public. William says, so Timo and working with the public can be challenging. Yeah, it can. It can. Gotta take, you gotta see through, the mask that everyone's wearing. It might be a mask of irritation. It might be a mask of frustration. It might be a mask of anger. And people will have the belief that they can take that out on the person who is there to help them. Because if they decide they don't want to put up with it, they can lose their job. So you're in a helpless position. But when you learn to see through that mask, when you learn to see deeper, it helps not to take any of that personally. Nothing. Don't take anything personally. William says, ate almost all my food. Tomorrow I go back to fasting. How long of a fast are you going to do? Timo says, there's a point, and I have a good German beer here for you. Nice. William says it feels great. Here, 63. Finally. Nice. We were in the low 70s today. William says it would not be so bad if people weren't always out to get you canceled or fired. That's true. I agree. People like feeling like they're in a position of power because everyone feels slightly disenfranchised. There's always someone who has more power than you. So when they find someone that they can view, well, now I got someone. Now I got power. Even if it's over the cashier, the salesperson, the whatever. When I was working retail in a bookstore during the early 90s, the people I worked with were like a second set of parents for me. A little bit older. I just absolutely loved them. And they really did treat me as another son. And I had a customer really give me a hard time. And I've never been good at taking too much from people. I always try to be kind, but I also feel like I don't need to put up with stuff. I can simply say no. And I did. And this lady got really upset. And she said, are you the manager or do you own the place? And I said no. And this was a small store. And she said, then I want to talk to the owner because, and this is before whole so-called cancel culture. I'm going to talk to the owner and I'm going to get you fired. And I said, all right, you can talk to the owner. And I pressed the intercom button and I said, hey, Dad, can you come up and talk to an angry customer? And the owner laughed and said, I'll be right up. And she looked at me, complete disgust in her face, and said, never mind, and stormed out of the store. Never saw her again. I did once call a customer when I was working in the vitamin shop, called her an asshole. Not my best moment. And she complained to the regional manager. And she complained so much that the regional manager said, Miss, you are an asshole. Eric was right. And if you don't ever want to come back to the store, that's perfectly okay with us. Easy says, hey, Eric, just want to say thank you for opening my eyes to see how to look within for the answers. Things are starting to become more clear, and I'm grateful. Hey, Easy, man, I'd love to talk some more about that. Poor man says, nice and cool out here today, overcast, good cutting weather. $40-day fast, wow. It's going to be just water, or are you going to include like light fruit or something like that? Jay says, Wayne has not stopped all day here. It's more than wet. William says 9:23 to 11:07. It's a good long fast. Nightmare says, yep, give a man a uniform and see his true colors, is what my dad always said. That's pretty wise. Steve says, it's just started to rain over here. William says, sounds like typical European weather, Jace. It has rained off and on, mostly overcast. It stormed really hard last night. It's supposed to rain all week here, too. Hey, Zach. Zach says, hey, everyone. Sorry for being a little late, but it's time for inspiration. What do you got for us, Zach? Timo says, Eric Point. In 3 or more, we can start with the Christmas decorations with a live stream. Hey, Brian. How are you? I'm going to have that book sent out this week, Brian. Austin says, how you doing today, Yogi? I'm good, Austin. How about you? Austin's been putting out some really funny videos lately. Zach says, you have brains in your head, you have feet in your shoes, you can steer yourself in any direction you choose. You're on your own, and you know what you know. And you are the guy who will decide where to go. Nice. Dr. Seuss. Wisdom of Dr. Seuss. You can't go wrong with Dr. Seuss. Same with Shel Silverstein. The Giving Tree. What a wonderful book. Brian says, Eric, your salute emoji shows up as a 0 now for some reason. Huh. Austin says he's doing good. Thanks for asking. You're welcome, my friend. So, easy. It's amazing how we complicate the simplest thing in the world. Seeing, and I'm using seeing in both a broad as well as a pinpointed sense. Seeing the truth of who we are, the truth of what we are, is as simple as it can be. In the Sufi tradition, they talk about it being like so clear that we see our true colors simply with a look, simply with a glance. But it's been obscured by beliefs, opinions, parents, siblings, teachers, clergy, books. We accumulate all this knowledge only to find out that we have to start letting it go and letting it go and letting it go. William says, complete a 40-day water fast. Well, sending you support, William. Austin says, just made a video today. I'll be sure to check it out. Brian says, thanks, Eric. I really appreciate it. Just getting ready to do a little workout in a bit and get ready for work. Brian's little workouts are generally enough to bury anyone else. Doc says, I gotta go. Gotta go now. Bye. Hey, Zach, thanks for stopping by and dropping off some inspiration. Timo says, see you later. Gonna walk with Bax. We will see you at the premiere. Austin drops a link for his video. He does some serious fast talking. Thanks for dropping that link. I have it up, and I'll watch the whole thing right after the live stream. Jay says, Brian Lane, make sure to clear the cache in the memory if you're on your phone, or you may need to reset. Hey, Jace, how are you feeling? How's your recovery? Are you about ready to dive in full bore? Austin says, hi, everyone. Nightmare says, so what's the best way to support you? Watching ads, hanging out. I do have a members channel. I don't really talk about it much. It's sort of one of those things that, like, you know, if people find it and they're interested, that's awesome. The super chat's always cool. I don't like to mention that either. So let's just, you know, watching ads are always cool. I think I make like 2 or 3 cents per ad. I don't know what the most ads I've ever, the biggest revenue from ads, I think like $2.30. When I got the first royalty for one of my books, it wasn't much. It might have been, pulling a figure out of the top of my head, $1.48. And I remember opening the envelope and seeing it, and unfortunately doing it in front of some friends, some family members, to instantly get mocked. Oh, the best-selling author, $1.48. What they didn't understand is how extremely happy I was. I got paid. I don't care how much. I got paid for my own creativity, for my own inspiration. I earned income as a professional writer. $1.48, doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. This was early 2000s. I could still buy a cup of coffee for $1.48, and I did. It was a cup of coffee that was bought by my own inspiration. Something that was never here. And by my own willingness to sit at a desk and listen to whatever came to me, and then write it down, and then seek a way of getting it published, someone who I didn't know bought a copy. I made $1.48. Pretty awesome. If I get 30 cents, 28 cents, whatever, someone watching an ad to come here to hang out with me, that's completely awesome. If someone does a super chat because I said something at some point in time that might have resonated, that maybe help point someone in a particular direction, absolutely awesome. To be able to do that and meet my very low expenses. I'm in an extremely fortunate position. I don't need a lot. Life can't get any better than that for me. Am I going to get the boat and the fancier house and the fast car? No, I don't want one. I might want a dog. I miss having my own dog in my house. I have Mocha's dog that visits all the time. We walk together. She thinks she's mine as much as I think she's mine as well. But my cats right now, they would not tolerate. And they're old, and they came here as old cats, adopted. And they don't like Misty, which is odd because everyone likes Misty. Hey, Tandra, how are you? Jay says, good on autopilot. My body will tell me for sure. So, Nightmare, I really appreciate you asking that. One says it was a 2-part answer. Which, I think I fell behind in the conversation and I'm missing the reference. What was the 2-part answer? Jace says, Nightmare, maybe subscribe or super chat. Thank you, Jace. Easy says, I spent my entire life looking up to God, trying to ask questions, but I never tried looking within to search for those answers. Meister Eckhart said, the eye in which I see God is the same eye in which God sees me. The book that I've been reading in the morning, the very first stanza in the poem, when you close your eyes and see God within, you are God's hero. The second, when you open your eyes and see God in everyone, you are God's hero. That's the amazing revelation. When you catch a glimpse of God within, then you have no doubt that God has to be within everyone as well. How can you be less than loving to anyone who comes within your line of vision, wherever that vision might be? Which is why we forgive. We're not forgiving the human personality, which is always going to make mistakes, always going to do some harm, always going to mess up. We're looking deeper than that, realizing that spark of God beyond the ego, existing in myself, existing in everyone. That's what I'm getting in touch with. Jay says, I'm good. Read that. Brian says, got a good short on Teddy the Turtle hanging out in the water dish. Let's see. I'm going to bring up Brian's channel, so I'm going to watch that afterwards. You know, a lot of people might show up and watch Brian put in awesome amount of work doing burpees. You got to check him hanging out with his turtles. If you've ever doubted that a turtle could be affectionate, go hang out. Go hang out with Brian. So how you doing, Tandra? I've had Tandra up for some watch hours, as always. And Jace, as always. And I have trending for coming up on the last hour of a 5-hour video. If you guys have a goal for your YouTube channel, let me know. And I'll do everything I can to support. And I know our friends here will do the same. If you have a goal outside of YouTube and you want support, let me know. I'm all in, 100%. Jay says, easy, you will hopefully find that love is a true answer to all the questions. Open heart and an open mind relieves all issues. Absolutely. When you find that love and God are synonymous, that all this time we've been searching for a God figure. What does God look like? God is, it's the God of Zen, empty and full, emptiness and capacity, all at the same time. God cannot have a specific quality. He's the allowance of every quality. It's that all allowingness. What I love with A Course in Miracles, it answers the question of why would God create such a insane universe where children are allowed to starve, where people go hungry, where some people will have no home, where wars exist and there's crime against others. And the answer, and it aligns perfectly with Buddhism and yogic philosophy, God did not create an insane world. We did. We created this world. At some point in the great oneness of existence itself came a tiny mad idea. And we forgot that we were supposed to laugh at it. And the idea was that we could be separate from that which is always and only inseparable. That we could be other than God. That we could be other than love. And within that mad thought, that tiny mad idea, the universe seemed, didn't actually, but it seemed to split as if a big bang in infinite directions. In the Genesis, it says that God caused Adam to fall into a deep sleep. But nowhere in the Bible does it say Adam ever woke up. Let's call Adam the Alpha and the Omega, the beginning and the end. the prototypical human, fallen asleep already within the garden, dreaming of a universe of separation. God would never allow a starving child. However, we allow starving children. We do. And when we realize that the universe itself is illusory, Maya, that it is very real feeling, but it's still a dream within the mind of God, we also realize that we have a responsibility to return, to awaken, to come alive again in the mind of God, in which we've never left. And we do that through the process of remembering that we are love and forgiving. Each time we do that, we awaken from the dream a little more, a little more, a little more. That's from the cosmology of Hinduism, Buddhism, Course in Miracles, even some of the Gnostic beliefs. Nightmare says, that's kind of low, to be honest, but I don't mind watching the ads. That helps. Do you receive more if I click on the ad? You know what? That's a good question. I don't actually know. Hey, Tantra, my friend. Thank you. Tanya says, good. Thanks, Eric, for the watch hours. This is for you being you. Thank you so much. It's much appreciated. I'm thinking of me being me, because you know what? Someone has to do it. No one else has ever volunteered for the job. It is not an easy task. And I'll be honest, it sometimes doesn't feel like an easy task for any of us to be who we truly are. It doesn't feel like an easy task to be authentic, especially in a world that wants you to be anything but authentic. We prize authenticity, but we don't want people to step out of line. And if we do, we quickly want them back in line. The reason is because it sets a bad example. If you're authentic, that means I can no longer believe the facade that I've been putting up. It means I got to drop it all. I got to be authentic too. The gift of authenticity isn't just a gift for you. It's a gift you get to give to everyone. Brian says, have a good walk to Timo. So again, thank you so much, Tandra. Much appreciated. And I'm always happy to help with those watch hours. The good news, I don't know if you heard me mention, I watched a video from YouTube that said you can now monetize with 500 hours or 500 subscribers, the first stage, and 3,000 watch hours. Used to be 1,000 subscribers, 3,000 watch hours. So if you guys aren't subscribed to Tandra, please do. She's a wonderful live streamer. One of my favorites. She's so natural. She's got a comforting voice. It's just a fun. I love, that's why it's so easy giving her watch hours, because I just put it up and it's on through the course of the day. And when I want to dive in, I dive in, and it's like I'm just visiting with a friend. And when I have other stuff I need to do, I keep it up and it's there. It's the same thing when I have Jace's watch hours. I like Runner Boys, because that's going to sound wrong, because he doesn't talk a lot. But it means that I can put him up and I can work. I can do my writing, and I know I'm not going to get drawn into a conversation. So it's not like I don't like hearing Runner Boy. Tanya says, just finished eating Sunday roast dinner. Nice. Jace says, Eric, what's the cost to a rescue dog? Look for one. I will pay for it. Well, thank you, Jace. That is awful kind. I don't know, but I'd love to get a rescue dog. Milka often talks, her and I getting senior dogs and giving them such a loving life for whatever time they have remaining. But man, when my 2 dogs passed away in 2019, it was devastating. I've lost dogs before. I don't know why these two. I think it was because I had lost my mom, then I got a divorce, then my dad had a stroke. It just seemed like a series of losses. And I absolutely loved my dogs. You know, we all love our dogs. I love every dog. I think I showed you a picture. My cat just looked at me like, man, I hear you talking about dogs, and I am not going to abide you bringing a dog home. This is Mandy, the Wonder Corgi. Sweetest Corgi disposition ever. Corgis are awesome dogs, by the way. And this is Toby. Toby might not have actually been fully a dog. He could have had a little bit of a goat. He might have been maybe a little bit of a bat. Some sort of wild beast for the longest time. Toby was indestructible. Once when Mocha was in Iraq, he accidentally got into a bag of chocolate. And it was a bag of dark chocolate, which is even worse. Chocolate's bad, 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 bad for dogs. He could climb up in anything, so it's not like you could hide it from him. Wherever you put it, no matter how high, he would find it, he would get it. And he ate just about the entire bag. And I immediately called the vet. What should I do? Should I bring him in? And they said, monitor his activities, monitor what's going on with him, let us know how does he look now. And I looked over and he was smiling at me like, what are you going to do? The only dog I've ever had who would literally shrug his shoulders. You would, scold him for something, gently, of course, and he would just, I'm a dog. I can get away with it. And he did. So that's Toby and Mandy. And yes, by the way, Mandy was named after a Barry Manilow song. Brian says, one day I'd like to get another dog. It's been a few years since I had my last one. Have you ever thought about adopting a senior dog, Brian? Roy says, I have and probably never will own my own dog. What makes you think that? William says, and I'm struggling to find work now. Kind of down to microseconds on the fuse. Man, William, I wish I could help you. I know this has been a difficult time for you. Sorry, guys, I'm behind in the conversation. Life with Misty says, hello, everyone. Hey, Misty, how are you? Specs. Hey, Specs. Hi, everyone. Gonna listen along. Thought I'd say hi first. Thank you, Specs. Specs says, you got it. Nice to meet you, Tandra. Tanya says, thanks, Eric. So kind of you. I'm getting a bit better. Good. Nice to hear. Spec says hi to Eric. Spec says hi, Life with Misty. Nice to see you. Nightmare says, I will check in later, Eric. Stay awesome. Bye, everyone. Thank you, Nightmare. Much appreciated. Spec says, I bought my Lola from a homeless man with 8 puppies. Best dog ever. Man, I love how dogs come into our lives. It just seems the right dog finds us. We don't find the right dog finds us. Charlie says, good evening. Hope everyone is well. Good evening, Charlie. How are you? Spec says, Mandy is so cute. Yeah, and she knew it. She knew it. Again, Corgis are such awesome dogs. Toby was a skipper key. Skipperkees are Norwegian sheepdogs, and they have this really strange vocal, um, which they were used to navigate the northern seas. One corgi would sense smell another, not corgi, skipperkee, and they would give this mournful howl, and then the should YouTube. There's probably a skipperkee sound, and then the other one would reply, and they would navigate ships passing each other, keeping their distance through the skipperkee. At least that's the legend. Tundra says, lovely pics. Thanks. People are always like, hey, do you have photos of your wife slash ex-wife? Do you have photos of your siblings? Do you have photos of my stepdaughter? And the answer is nope, but I can show you a picture of my dogs. Spec says, activated charcoal. Charcoal's sort of a wonder supplement. It does so much. Kane says, you got lovely eyes from England. Thank you, my friend. It was an awful kind thing for you to say. Hey, Runner Boy. I was just talking about you, Runner Boy. Runner Boy said, just posted my video. Say came by. I appreciate that. Hey, Kayla. Hey, you guys subscribe to Kayla Boo? Let's see. Kane says, Dante? That might stand for something that I don't know. And let's see. Charles says, do you believe in Jesus Christ? It's an interesting question. I often don't talk about religion per se. I talk a lot about, for lack of a better word, spirituality. I don't much care for that term either. But I do believe in Jesus. I believe in having a personal relationship with Jesus outside of the church. Of course, not everyone has to have a personal relationship with Jesus. You could have it with Krishna, Shiva, with whatever figure calls to you the most. Who speaks to you? Who is speaking to your heart? But having Jesus as a presence in your life is a wonderful, wonderful thing. And I stepped aside. I was raised Catholic, and man, didn't just step outside of the Catholic faith. I stepped aside, and then I ran a full-out sprint to get as far away from it as possible, only to find myself coming a little full circle, not back to Christianity, but back to a loving relationship with Jesus as a presence in my life. Of course, I also have Krishna and Shiva and Brahma as a presence. So I appreciate that question. Spec says, hi to Kayla and hi to Charles. How are you today? Runner Boy says, charcoal very good. Ash very poisonous. Don't get it mixed up, guys. Excellent advice. Spec says, exactly, from the pharmacy or pet store, not a fire pit. Gotcha. So that would be good for a chocolate overdose. Charlie says, can I recommend you 2 awesome biblical YouTube channels, which changed my life? Yes. Always. Always feel free to recommend whatever's been meaningful for you. I can't make any promises that I would find it myself as meaningful, but I'm always open-minded, and someone here absolutely might find it so. I'm not closed to anything, Charlie. So, again, anything that you find meaningful, absolutely feel free to share. Fanny says, Fanny GS Flip Flop. I like that channel name. Hi, beautiful human. God bless you. Thank you, Fanny. Man, we're getting some pretty awesome people in here. Specs says hi to Fanny, and Fanny says hi to Specs. Specs says, yes, any toxicity issues. We'll keep that in mind. For my next dog, but hopefully they will not ever get into a bag of chocolate. Not every dog is going to be as indestructible as Toby. So, Peter Cabrera Jr. I'm going to write that down in my little book. And Torben. Sonogard had to do with pronouncing that. Thank you, Charles. Spec says, I like Melky Cabrera, the baseball player. So maybe. I've not heard of him. I'll be honest. I cannot name. I'm trying to think. I cannot name a single professional athlete currently. I can name a lot of past ones. Charles says, save those names, take a screenshot. This might be a little embarrassing to admit. I do not know how to do a screenshot. And of course, I got my phone up here. Got my phone here to stream, and I got my desktop up for my old guy eyes. Bigger screen. But I got it written down in the book. This is really the big little book of things not to forget. One of you says, the only dog we have had that ate chocolate stole was from a shelter. Vet had to make him throw up. Let's see. Charles says correct pronunciation. Every once in a while, I get lucky. It does not happen often. And thank you, brother. You're welcome. Let's see. Well, again, I have it on my desktop. I'm also technically deficient. So if I were to try that while I'm live streaming, I would make a mess out of everything. One boy says, use a camera and take a picture of the screen. Well, that's logical thinking. Well, it says you can get charcoal from fire, but it is from a process of making biochar, which then still needs to be activated to become activated charcoal. Eric says, hey to Fanny. Runner Boy says, make sure to put the flash on. I'd have to get a camera. And Roy says, if it is Android, volume and lock, key pull down from the top to get your setting back, drag it down to expand it, and there may be an option to capture screen or screen record. You may as well have been speaking Latin for all the good that it did in that explanation. I appreciate it. I've hinted at my technical inability. Here's what I'm good at, guys. I can do a lot of burpees. And I can walk and run really far. Can also put a heavy pack on my back and go for a long time. I used to be able to put a lot of weight over my head. I used to think that I would make a good hunter-gatherer, and then I went vegan, so now I'm reduced to a gatherer. I'm okay with that. So guys, if you have any gathering needs, let me know. Come on by, and even you can give me a list. Things to gather. If you need anything technically explained, go to our friend William Hart, and he can help you out. Runner Boy says, Yogi, I can help you. I just need your social security number and some form of ID. Trust me. And I do trust Runner Boy. And honestly, I would trust Runner Boy with my social security number. However, I am just on the near side of gullibility. Haven't stepped over that line just yet. I learned my lesson from that misplaced prince who called me up looking for help. I'm not going to make that mistake again. Although, he did sound very sincere. And who knows, it's only been 6 years. He might still come through for me. Eric Point says, Yogi, after live, press the power button and the lower the volume button at the same time, and that will do the screenshot. Ah, okay. Now that sounds simple enough. It also sounds, it almost sounds yogi proof. But here's the thing I can guarantee you. There's no such thing as being yogi proof. I've had toasters and blenders literally catch fire for no apparent reason. Wonder Boy says, Yogi, will you donate a small fortune to my crab sanctuary? You know what? I would. Because nobody has been more sincere about their love of crabs than Runner Boy. For weeks now, almost every conversation, there has been a mention of crabs. I mentioned before, guys, if you have a passion about something, let me know, and I'm all in. Clearly, Runner Boy loves his crabs. And Runner Boy's a friend. How could I ever deny helping a friend, especially in his pursuit of loving crabs? I live in the crabbing capital of the United States. Maryland, not far from Baltimore, not far from the harbor, maybe 20 to 30 minutes away from the Chesapeake Bay. Every stream in my neighborhood would make its way to the Chesapeake Bay. Boy says it works for Android. Boy says, I did say that. Why did it sound simpler when Eric LaPointe? I think it might be the psychic Eric connection. One Eric to another. Boy says, I forgot the comma to donate the pull down being the next option. My apologies. Not a problem. I probably still wouldn't have understood, even with the comma. Runner Boy has never eaten a crab. You're not missing much, to be honest with you. It's huge here. Everyone's eating crabs. Unfortunately, they cook them alive. You don't have to cook them alive. It's a fallacy that you do. And it's a shame. We got an emoji from Kayla. And it's an awful lot of work to get very little meat. And the meat itself doesn't taste like much, so people dump Old Bay seasoning all over it. Now, Old Bay seasoning on popcorn goes very, very well. Highly recommend it. It's high in sodium though, so be careful. William says they claim it is for the purest tasting meat, which is BS, a lie. Yeah, I doubt anyone would be able to tell the difference between a crab that was steamed alive and one that wasn't, as far as the meat. Especially after, again, you dump gallons of Old Bay all over it. One boy says, so they want you to eat something that has no taste. Yeah, basically. Five Ed says, so from England. Hello, my friend. How are you? So one thing I wanted to mention, the last couple live streams, I was talking breath work. And I did a live stream on the members channel doing a guided breath work session. Ujjayi breathing, that ha, as if you are fogging up glasses. I've demonstrated it a lot. I can demonstrate it again. Always happy to demonstrate. And I was talking to Easy up above about the simplicity of knowing who we truly are. To take all the guesswork out of breath work, Ujjayi breathing, the ha, it's doing the with your mouth shut through your nose, inhaling through the nose, exhaling. So you're literally just making that ha. And it only has to be loud enough for you to hear it. You don't need to out Ujjayi the person next to you. You might hear that in a yoga class. Who can do Ujjayi breathing the loudest? You don't need to. It's a very gentle, soothing sound. It means victorious breath, but it's also called ocean breathing. This breath alone, you don't need any special breathing pattern. You don't need to count. You can if you want, but if you just practice Ujjayi breathing in any times of stress, any times where you feel you might be on the verge of a panic attack, that I would offer it during a panic attack, but from my own experiences, it's hard to remember anything when you are truly in a panic. But when you begin to sense that one is drawing near, when you're right on that edge and you know it could happen, just Ujjayi breathing, because it's so simple and everyone can do it. Just a quick demonstration. Again, it's through the nose, and hopefully you'll be able to hear it. Tones the vagal nerve, lowers the heart rate, reduces the blood pressure. It's calming. You could lay it on your back at night and just do that, and it'll help you sleep. It actually tones the vocal cords. It's good for the thyroid. It is, let's see, I don't want to miss any of the positive qualities of the simplest breath work that you can do. And you can use it for every breath work. So when you do the 4x4 breathing, perfect. When you can do the 4, breathing in for 4, exhale for 8, with the Ujjayi breath, perfect again. So I want to read it. Again, I don't want to miss anything, so I'm going to bring it up. Improved mental health. Ujjayi breathing can help reduce anxiety, improve emotional regulation, and promote a sense of inner calm. Better concentration. Ujjayi breathing can help you maintain focus and concentration during yoga poses, as well as any other, not just yoga poses. Anything you need to concentrate on. Improved cardiovascular health. Ujjayi breathing can help improve oxygen saturation and blood pressure control. Improved lung health, lung function. Ujjayi breathing can help strengthen the muscles around the lungs and rib cage. Improve sleep. Ujjayi breathing can help improve sleep. Reduce stress. Ujjayi breathing can help you shift from a stress state to a more relaxed state in as little as 10 breaths. Soothing the nervous system. Ujjayi breathing can help calm the nervous system. Slowed heart rate. Ujjayi breathing can help slow down the heart rate. Plus, many other benefits. It's actually being studied quite a bit. And you can do it anywhere, anytime, for any reason whatsoever. Yeah, so I really want to make sure people know how simple it can be. All of it. I know people who do hour yoga classes, 90-minute yoga classes. Um, I spent, man, close to 2 years doing 1 or 2 90-minute Bikram yoga classes a day. You don't need to. If you have time, you want a good workout, that's fine. But yoga can be as simple as a forward bend, the deep yogic squat, and child pose. 3 postures, followed by some breath work. Does not need to be involved. In Patanjali's Yoga Sutra, which is the handbook, the guidebook, the Bible of yoga, yoga asanas, the postures, are mentioned 3 times in 195 sutras. And the 3 that are mentioned are for sitting in meditation. Bible says 1,500 people perished on the Titanic in 1912. Over here in England, we eat horse. Is that something that is in the U.S. also? It is not. Sorry, guys. That's my phone ringing. I'm going to go in just a minute and I'm going to call this person back. This is actually a friend of ours. So, Wonder Boy, let's see. Every 60 seconds, a minute passes. That, I'm going to have to test that out. Do you have a reliable source for that? Wonder Boy says horses are illegal to eat in the UK. And Eric Point says snow is illegal to eat horses in the USA. I'm starting with the 4x4. It's an excellent practice. Cohesive breathing. Because there's that slight pause in between breaths, it actually equates to about 5 seconds to 5.5 seconds, which science, not just yogic science, but science itself, calls the perfect breath. And then if you really have trouble sleeping, just lengthen that exhalation to a count of 6 or a count of 8, and it will really help you sleep. And this week I'll do another live stream breath work. And I might do it with the 3 yoga poses that I described. The forward bend, the deep yogic squat, followed by child pose. And you can always add stuff on. You can do from the child pose, upward dog to downward dog, or from child pose, you can do the cat cow, down dog, up dog, and then go into the kneeling. It's called the diamond pose, and you do your breath work in that position. Perfect. You do that every morning. It takes less than, all those poses alone would take less than 5 minutes, and then you do a 3-minute breathing session. And you get all the benefits of especially if you do that and you go outside and take a walk in nature. As mentioned before, that nature, the fractal patterns, your eyes respond to it, and you immediately start going into the alpha brainwave state, which is a light state of meditation, the state where we receive our best creativity, our best inspiration. So that's a full, and if you continue your nasal breathing when you're outside doing the walk, it's a full yogic practice right there. It involves mindfulness, yoga asanas, breath work, the light state of meditation from taking a walk, immersion in nature. It opens up the heart. Can't Stop, Won't Stop says, you ever heard about, let's see. Can't see that last. Have you ever heard about aliens? I have heard about aliens. It's always interesting to talk about. I don't talk about it often. I don't have a firm stance on aliens. Love our toy pups. I do love toy pups. And you know what? I'm happy to love your toy pups. All right, so guys, I'm gonna head off. A few things to do. I'll be back later to live stream again for no apparent reason, other than I like coming here, talking about stuff. Optimob's gonna be going live, or the premiere, sorry, very soon. This is gonna be a special one. He's been talking about this one for a little while. I think you're gonna like it. Eric Point says another great live. Thank you, Eric Point. I always appreciate that thumbs up. Lets me know that indeed I did a good job. Let's see. Hello, I'm a Korean fan. Well, thank you, my friend. Hey, let's change that fan to friend. That you are a friend from Korea. Absolutely awesome. Optimob says, hi to Love Our Toy Pups. Let me make a quick trip over to Love Our Toy Pups so that I can subscribe and make sure that I get all notifications. Awesome. Man, I can tell already that this is a channel that is going to bring me lots of smiles. You can't go there and look at that banner and look at the little thumbnail and not have your heart just instantly melt. So, our friend from Korea says, awesome, already subscribed. Thank you, my friend. Very much appreciated. I'm going to visit your channel too. And I got you, my friend. I know you don't have any content yet. You never know when you might decide to. So I'm going to be on the ground floor. I'm going to be on the cutting edge. All right. So I'm going to see everyone later if you're around and if you want to continue talking about stuff. I will see you over at Optimobs. Definitely don't want to miss it, guys. As well, remember, lots of people here growing their channels. So support the people that we can. Much appreciated. Thanks again, guys. Take care.